Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Proud Terriers Weekly Review. I hope you've all had a brilliant week, and thank you again for tuning in this evening. Like I say, I really appreciate everyone's support that you've shown since, since we set the group, but also since we relaunched the channel. I'm really happy to be joined by James this evening, who, ironically, we met, following town actually, and like I say. The rest is history, if you could say so. So yeah, welcome to the show, James, and thank you for joining.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hi, everybody.
So let's get straight into it then. Obviously, we played Bournemouth, and I think the overall summary for me was that we knew before this game that it was going to be a really tough match, but like I said, the fact that we gifted both of their goals didn't really sit right with me at all, which comes in nicely to my first conclusion for this game. Like I said, Bournemouth's goals were cheap and very costly to us in that first half. It really killed us. Like I say, if you look at overall in the season, too many times we've conceded cheap goals. From the outset, it looked pretty clear that the plan was try and get on the ball, ease our way into the game, stay in control, avoid overcommitting or rushing into danger. But we still kind of managed to to concede 2 goals out of absolutely nothing. So I think that for me, the first half definitely just kind of made us lose the match, if you could say so. What was your overall summary of that first half, James, if you remember it rightly?
Yeah, I think unfortunately it almost reminded me of the reverse fixture against Bournemouth back in December, when I think it's fair to say once we saw the team for that game, we basically forfeited the match before it even began. The youngsters who we played that day were just not experienced enough, and they overall in that first game. This time around, we're supposedly have more experienced players, since then, but it's the same old story. So many times this season. How many times this season have we gifted so cheap goals away? So, and when you're against players of the caliber of that Bournemouth have, they've just gone down to the Premier League. It's unforgivable, really, and it clearly left us too much to do in the second half. And even though we gave it a good go, but once we were 2-0 down, you saw we was definitely going to lose that game.
Yeah, and like I said, that nicely kind of comes on to obviously looking into more detail about the goals that were conceded, and obviously it came from from us giving the ball away, and also we just couldn't get control of that ball as maybe we would like. Like I say, Philip Billy, one of our good friends, if you could say so. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know what to describe. Maybe not so. But like I say, he released Danjuma, who we pinpointed as a really really dangerous player to look out for in this game. Like I said, they've got so many talented players, Bournemouth anyway, but Danjuma was one of the key men for me that we should have been looking out for. And like I say, and if you look at the replays of that goal as well, it was like, it's schoolboy stuff. It really is, because nobody picked up Billings' run. You ran into the penalty area, looking for that rebound. Once Schofield saved, and it's just that it's just really schoolboy. And like I say, Edmonds Green was over there covering the winger anyway. So you could argue that the 2 players, Hogg and Keogh, didn't really need to be dragged across that far. But yeah, I think what was I going to say? I've got loads of notes here, so that's probably why I'm fucking down. But yeah, like I say, I think the overall thing for this game was we did make it far too easy for them, and we knew that it was going to be a test, but we did give them both their goals, and they didn't have to work for it. And like I say, the reaction in the second half was really positive, and we really did come into the game, if you could say so. Louis O'Brien, great strike, hit the bar. Again, you can say it's a bit unlucky. If one of those goals going a bit earlier, maybe it would have made the game a bit more interesting. But for me, you never quite felt like it was a game that we was ever going to get back into once we went 2-0 down. And like I say, I think seeing Hogg score, a very rare goal was very unexpected as well. But like I say, I think Sorba Thomas for me is a really promising player for me, and I think that he did well to win that corner, and it resulted in and like I say, Aaron's it was great to see him back. Like I say, I think it brought a smile to all our face in that. And like I say, the other thing that I put down was that I think since we've seen a bit of Scott High again, I really like Scott High. I think he did more in that 20 minutes on the pitch than Bakuna did. Managed in the 70 minutes he played. So, but like I say, if you're looking at Scott High, I think he's a really exciting young talent coming through. That what I've seen of him looks really, really promising. What do you make of the youngsters that we've seen coming from like I said, like I mentioned Scott High and Thomas they really do look promising. Don't you agree about that?
Yeah, some of them do look promising. There's definitely, as you say, Sorba Thomas. Certainly, he definitely needs to start a game at some point before the season comes to an end. Certainly, yeah. Scott High again. He's getting better as we see more of him during the season. I wasn't sure about him at first. He almost seemed like he's a dead end stumble. Just bring him on, but yeah, he's definitely improved a lot. Maybe that load at Shrewsbury at the start of the season helped him out a bit. And obviously, there are a few others that we obviously haven't seen that many times. Obviously, in the reverse fixture against Bournemouth, of course, we gave Brahima Diarra his debut, and he's scored some ridiculously good goals for the B team and the other underage teams. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him in the future, presumably probably next season now. But I'm still not fully up on Edmonds Green, I must say, in the back. I personally would have liked to see Rodney Critchlow have more of a go than Edmonds Green myself. He certainly had some good performances in early parts. Obviously man the match in that game against Forest early in the season, and obviously got a good header in the cup game as well. So yeah, I'm slightly surprised we've not seen more of him. Perhaps he has had injuries as well, but there are definitely good signs, and hopefully next season, we'll get when we get rid of more deadwood, shall we say? Hopefully, the last of the deadwood will finally go, and we can integrate them properly. But yeah, hopefully we should be looking forward to a good season next season. I hope with all these youngsters.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's a good point about Edmonds Green, getting more looking than Critchlow. Critchlow hasn't really had a chance. Like I say, he has had injuries, but maybe I kind of agree with you on that. To be honest with you, like I say, the bottom line is the second half was a lot better in this match, but again, another. How many times have we said that we've performed really poorly in the first half of a match this season, and like I said, 0 points to show for our efforts in that second half, because like I say, we did, we was catching up, and we just weren't able to, like I say, conceding we did in that match was just not good enough for me. And then, like I say,
it's almost a bit ironic, of course, that the only goal we scored was a Hogg header, and he's probably the smallest player we've got. That's just one problem we still have. Our players are just so small, and in the majority, even Sarr and Kieran back aren't super tall players for centre backs, really. That is a big problem we have, and only Campbell's not super tall either. Really, we do need an average of at least 6 foot, really, for all our players. I think we do. I think I did see something say we have the smallest squad in the whole division, which is says it all, really. But we do need that's something we do need to look at, definitely.
Yeah, so would you maybe look to address that in the summer then, in terms of getting players in there a bit, making the side a bit more taller, if you could say so, because obviously that physical presence and is really important, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I said, and physical presence. I said we still don't really have that many sort of bully players. Hogg himself, because we all know he can fight hell for leather for anything, but. Again, he's still a small workhorse. Let's put it that way. But we are very weak, relatively speaking. We are a bit of a soft touch compared to most of the other teams. If you compare us to other teams, you think, well, we're not really that much of a threat physical. And most other teams, you think, well, we don't want to mess with this guy or this other guy. But I think we're definitely a soft touch, comparatively speaking. We do need some more muscle.
Yeah, there's no. Like I say, apart from Hogg, there's no real leaders out on that pitch, isn't it? And that's, it speaks volumes that, you know, that you know, we've only when the Hog was out of the side, we had no real leader on that pitch, which really did you know, contribute to, you know, our bad run of form since the turn of the year. But obviously, like I say, we do need to address that in the summer. Like I said, I think Corcoran kind of, for me, needs to decide, you know, if these, you know, these untested players, if you could say so, are worth a gamble now. And like I say, he needs to decide. Like I say, you mentioned about Thomas. I'm very surprised that, you know, Thomas hasn't got a start since he's, you know, since we've seen him a few times from the bench. He looked really promising, and for me, he should be. I think Corbyn should be more. You know, he should take more of a gamble in that aspect because, you know, like I say, what have you got to lose really? Because Thomas has looked really great when he's come on, and you know, I feel like Scott High as well. I think Scott High is ready to step up and to start a few games maybe and see how he goes. But like I said, the circumstance of trying to get away from relegations maybe hasn't helped that. But if you look at you know, you can say experience, you know, will make you win games, but technically it doesn't, you know, and you know, when we saw that against Norwich, you know, in terms of you can have as much experience as you want on that pitch, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're gonna do anything. So yeah, that's kind of a conclusion that I've made as well, that, you know, Corcoran does need to decide. But I'm not sure. I would definitely take Bakuna out of the side. I know that Bakuna will go on to the Forest game in a minute, but I just think, you know, Scott High has performed so much better in that role than Bakuna has all season. And we've only seen Scott High a few times, and maybe that's speaking too early, but you can see Scott High is full of energy, and you know, it will really work hard for the team. And you know, I can't really always say that about Bakuna. What are your thoughts on Bakuna? Because I know that he's divided opinion again this season, and you know, I'm just interested to see what other fan perspective is on Bakuna. You know, I'm not pinpointing Bakuna as just one person that's let us down. You know, but Bakuna's been, you know, maybe top of conversation for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say he's certainly the Marmite player, shall we say, in this squad. You know, a few years ago, it was obviously Van der Parra was the Marmite player, and I must say I prefer Bakuna a bit more to Van der Parra. The irony is though that Van der Parra was supposed to be our brilliant winger doing all the assists and all scoring these goals, but if you look at his scoring record for us, it was pretty rubbish, really. You know, he only scored like, I think he only scored like 5 goals, I think, or something like that for us, whereas Bakuna's got already in double figures. But yeah, he just let us down so much. You know, last season, I think Danny Cowley actually got in perfectly when at the start of the season when he used him as an impact player. That was clearly his best performances, because he clearly is not a 90-minute person. That's obvious for everyone to see. I think we can all agree on that. But when he had that bit, you know, when he came off half an hour and then almost scored every other game when he came off the bench, that was clearly him at his best. You know, we could have been fully focused. Half an hour, he can go hell for leather and, you know, score brilliant goals like the one against Forest the weekend. But yeah, I'm in a way looking forward to him going, because I think we can assume he's going to be going in the summer. I think we can agree, because then again, like with Van der Parra, we can have no more discussions about, oh, can we have him? He can be brilliant at the time. Yeah, of course he can. But yeah, I just don't want this sort of indecisiveness. You know, I want players who are fully committed. You know, who definitely want to be there. You know, they're not thinking like, oh, where's my agent going to send me to next time? Maybe, I don't know. But we want people who are fully committed to this club. We all want that. And yeah, so anyway, I'll be hoping that Bakuna's going, but as long as he scores for us at the time being and he's focused, that's okay for now. But as I said, we can't guarantee that.
Yeah, he certainly loses his focus far too much for me, and like I say, he's just a bit of a liability at times. Yes, okay, he offers us that. You know, you always know that he's capable of, you know, one bit of magic, but I don't always, you know, like I said, we want players that are committed, and I'm not saying he's not committed, but at times his body language and his attitude has been really poor, and he can't really say that it hasn't really. And yeah, we like I say, I wouldn't call him a Huddersfield Town player, you know, player that, you know, really works hard for the team overall. And he's just so lazy at times, and yeah, for all his brilliance and all his talent, it just goes to waste. I just feel like it goes to waste. So, like I said, I'm not picking on Bakuna at all, but yeah, he's just a really frustrating player to watch.
I think if he took as much time as he did with his hairstyles as he did on the pitch, then he'd be a phenomenal player. But yeah, that's the irritating thing about it. You know, he's as popular for his hairstyles as he is for his indecisiveness at town. That's what he's going to, when he goes, that will be what he's mainly remembered for: indecisiveness and rubbish hairstyles.
Yeah, definitely. So do you see him going this summer then, honestly, then, or what do you make?
I think so. I don't. Actually, he's out of contract, and I don't. He's clearly. He's probably still on relatively big Premier League money. Still, I would have thought so. It's clearly going to be going, surely, unless because the only way he'll stay, obviously, will have to probably half his wages or something like that. He won't do that. Though surely he'll probably go somewhere. Maybe we'll go to Rangers or like I was suggesting earlier in the season, or who knows, maybe go back to the Netherlands. But yeah, I don't see him with us next season. No chance.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it, really, that maybe we'll just have to wait and see. There's a lot of players out of contract this summer, of course, as well, which will be interesting to see who stays, who goes. But for me, I think most of them will be happy, will be going, and it'll give us a chance to build a new squad that maybe we can, maybe, it'll be also interesting to see, what kind of, presumably Carlos will be here with us next season. Obviously, I'm just brilliant, and you don't really know what will happen, what do you in football, but I think that sorry, technical issues over. But yeah, I suppose what I'm saying is Carlos will have a chance to bring his players in that he maybe wants and get rid of players that he doesn't want. So it'll certainly be an interesting summer, but for sure the club has to get it right this summer, and there's no doubt about that. And I've spoken about this in our previous videos about there's just no excuses anymore for this, and like I say, it's one of those things. So yeah, we'll soon see what happens there anyway. So let's move on to the Forest game, a more happier game, of course. Barring the first 20 minutes, that's for sure. So let's just. So I don't think, for me, it wasn't really that easy a game to watch to begin with, because but. For me, it spoke volumes that Forest really showed that they had little interest in winning this match. But like I said, we were really timid and really sloppy and unfocused in that first 20 minutes. And like I say, this is the problem. If you're playing a so-called team that maybe has things to play for and are a better side than Forest, you do get punished. So. But anyway, it did work out for us, and we did grow into the game after this. And overall, we really did deserve the win more than them, because, like I said, we wanted it more. So, like I say, for me, it's so staggering how we can play like that for 20 minutes, and then where we couldn't even string a pass together. Let's be honest. And like I said, we didn't look like scoring at all in that first 20 minutes. We really weren't coming close. But then Forest obviously was giving it away a lot as well. So like I said, the goal that we scored, the first goal, was really, really, like I said, I know it came from an error from the Forest player, but again, it fell to the right man for me, because Rowe. I absolutely love watching Aaron Rowe, and he's just a joy to watch. He really is, and he's such an exciting talent that in this I feel like he really thrives in that position that we played him in, and like I say, it was a really cool, calm finish, and he possesses something that he's got star potential, and like I say, he was our man of the match on. For sure, and he's just a superstar. So yeah, obviously, what did you make of Rowe's performance? Because like I say, I'm not singling out different players here, but I think Rowe was the star of the show for this match.
Oh, without doubt, Aaron Rowe, what a comeback he is, mate. When we first saw him, I remember when he made his debut in the Premier League at West Ham, you'd have thought, who is this guy? We literally had hardly ever heard of him. He'd never been on the bench, hardly ever heard him mentioned in under 18s. Presumably he had been, obviously, I'd have thought. But, he didn't make a bad impression on his debut then. And then last season, he seemed to have been left in the wilderness again all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden he's come back this season. You know, that FA Cup game, we're obviously going to never forget that ridiculously good goal he got against Plymouth. And then he's shown his versatility, and it's just incredible. You know, he can play pretty much every wing position, full back, all the wings either side. He's definitely got so much stamina, so much speed. You know, he certainly deserved that goal. You know, he was unlucky not to get that chance a couple minutes early before that, going that little skirmish in the box. But yeah, I'm really impressed with him. He's definitely one for the next season. There's no doubt he could really be the one that we've been looking for on the wings. You know, definitely get rid of any lingering doubt. I think Corberan, he said afterwards, when he had a little change when he's moved Holmes and Rowe onto opposite sides, I think that definitely changed the game. As you said, first 20 minutes we were hopeless. You know, I was actually chatting to a mate of mine who's a Forest fan during the whole match, and he was saying it was almost the same thing most seasons. You know, they have this weird habit of being so grey early doors. But after that, we've done that so many times this season. We've had ridiculously fast starts, and you know, sometimes we scored early doors and then just laying silly goals later on, or we had so much of the possession and had rubbish shots and then just laying a sucker punch. So it was in a way nice for us to get one of those sort of sucker punches that last, you know, just at the right time, because you know, if they'd have gone level, Forest and down, I have a feeling that the result might have been completely different. But having that extra impetus in the second half, and and then obviously getting Bakuna's goal relatively early on, you know, even after that, it was all Town. You know, that's probably one of those dominant halves Town have played this season. You know, second half, even though we only got the one goal, you know, you almost looked like we could have scored 5-0 would not have been an injustice to that performance second half. We could easily have 5, no doubt of that. And Rowe is definitely the one who deserves a lot of credit, no doubt of that.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I definitely prefer him in that role, as for sure. Like I say, we've seen him a few times, you know, a bit further back, but he definitely flourishes more in that advanced role because, like I say, like I say, he's got so much pace, but he's also so talented as well. And like I say, we should really, look to, build a side around him because he will really flourish under this team if we give him, if we play him in the right position. And yeah, like I said, if you look at the second goal as well, obviously Bakuna with, like I said earlier, his moment of magic, you could say so. And like I say, I'm really impressed with Danny Ward. Obviously, he's coming for some criticism lately, but obviously he found him quite beautifully with that pass that he picked him out, and obviously Bakuna did the rest. But yeah, it was great to see us score. To kill the game off. We could all we felt totally like we kind of felt in total control, really, if you could say so. Once, yeah. But like I said, that we did definitely need that second goal, and obviously we got it. But like I said, I think for me, credit where credit's due here. That we have been away for a lot this season. We've created a lot, and we've not scored as much as maybe we should have done. But we took our goals brilliantly, and like I say, long may it continue. But like I say, I don't think the performances matter at the moment. It's just about getting the points on the board and building for next season now. Because, I've kind of put here that obviously Sorba Thomas, obviously still not started the game, which I find baffling. Like I say, he really should be starting now because he's proved in the time that he's been on that he does deserve a start, and it'll be interesting to see how he does from the start as well. Admittedly, like I say, obviously Scott High, I think Scott High should be really finding himself unlucky that he's not maybe started the game. Like I say, maybe I'm jumping on these players too soon, maybe, because like I said, I know you have to be, you don't throw them in the deep end too much, but these young players do want to play football, so I think you should give them that opportunity to do so.
Yeah, but one thing we did miss, and we proved on Saturday, was Terry Toffolo. We've needed a proper left back, because so many times, when we had O'Brien, they're obviously good mates, but presumably Toffolo taught O'Brien a bit more left back, but he's not a proper left back. We all know that. Toffolo is just fantastic, and unfortunately, Jayden Brown seems to have gone down and gone a bit backwards this season. Unfortunately, which is a shame because last season he had some ridiculously good performances, but Toffolo is another class. Having losing it, not having him for the last 2 months. We really felt it, and he was clearly there, and hopefully he'll stay for the rest of the season. Well, at least stay in the team for the rest of the season. Then next season when we've got hopefully have a full bill of health, and then we can definitely build it up again next season. Because who knows what sort of tactics we'll do next season, but with Toffolo left out, it's definitely going to be better than without him.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, it was a. I think that's something that I forgot to mention actually. That Cobham kind of surprised us with that selection when we saw Toffolo on this team sheet. It was kind of maybe it was the good luck charm that we needed, the other day. But yeah, it was great to see him back, and like I say, it was also great to see Corona back on the bench. Obviously, he's been out for so long now, but. He didn't get on, but it was still nice to see him on the bench for sure. Like I say, I think after this game, it was a real sigh of relief for me, really, because if you look at the table now, 47 points, and obviously with results, I hate saying this, but obviously we're looking at what other teams are doing because of what the situation we face ourselves with, which I just find just so. I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is, but we really shouldn't be in this position. We know this, but we are on 4. So, like I say, we are on 47 points. Obviously, with and Rotherham occupy the last place. I think for me, Sheffield Wednesday and Wickham, I think they're down. I think Rotherham. I think it's between Rotherham, Derby, and I still think we're nearly safe. But I don't want to. I still think we need to get another win. I think. I don't know what your thoughts. It's like obviously it's 8 points the gap at the moment. Obviously Rotherham have 2 games in hand, obviously. Still, but I don't know. I still feel a bit unsure. It's still not done yet, is it?
No, it's a weird situation with Rotherham having all their COVID problems, and you'd expect they'll probably have some sort of burnout because after all they've got to play every midweek and every Saturday for the rest of the season. Whereas our only midweek game is this Wednesday against Barnsley, and then we just got 3 Saturdays. And obviously, rather than losing late on yesterday, definitely helped our cause a lot more than theirs, obviously, and obviously Birmingham's as well. And obviously, Coventry being Barnsley didn't help us in a way because you got to think Derby all of a sudden have got put a lot of pressure on themselves. But you got to think the fact that 4 of Rotherham's last 5 games away from home, that's not good for them either. They've had 4 home games in a row. Now they're going to have 4 of the last 5 away from home. Whereas we've got teams who are sort of hit and miss teams. Obviously Barnsley, they're going to be a bit slightly worried after messing up yesterday, and they could suddenly find themselves in trouble of not losing their playoff spot. Blackburn have got nothing really to play for. Coventry, that could be interesting if we're not safe when we play Coventry, and obviously Reading again. If they're still got a chance of the playoffs on last day, then we've obviously got to hope that we're not in it. But yeah. Everyone talks about the magic 50 points mark, and obviously one more win for us would get us there. And I'd like to think that should be enough. But then, of course, remember, of course, back in 2013, of course, when 55 points or whatever there wasn't enough for Peterborough, and of course, that was great when we got them relegated. But obviously 55 is more than enough this season. But yeah, I totally agree. Wickham are certainly down. Sheffield Wednesday as good as down, I'd say. And really, it should be between Derby and Rotherham. But until we get, we still need at least, preferably one of the next 2. If we win one of those 2, Barnsley or Blackburn, I think that should do it for us.
Yeah. If we get another win, it'll sure make it. Like I say, I don't know if Barnsley losing, the other day was a good thing for us really, because like I said, they'll be coming out on Wednesday wanting to get back to winning ways. So I don't know. You can look at it 2 ways really, but. Maybe gives us a bit of hope that we could possibly, win on Wednesday. But we'll have to wait and see for that one. But it'll sure be a really good match. And like I say, Barnsley are a really, I think, Barnsley have had such an amazing season, and like I say, for them to be even in that playoff chase is just unbelievable, isn't it? Like I say, they've done amazing, and let me just tap up.
Yeah, almost reminds us of our season 4 years ago. Of course, certainly. I think though more people saw us as a definite chance of getting the playoffs back 4 seasons ago. I don't think anyone gave Barnsley any hope. I think everyone's just thought, okay, they'll be looking to stay up this time. But yeah, this is definitely completely out of the blue, and have them back in the Premier League, that would be quite something, especially after what's going on with this European Super League yesterday. That's just complete madness, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we could say lots and lots of things about this European Super League, but I think it's I think it's important just to keep this keep that out of it. But I think we all know as true football fans that actually this European Super League, will really ruin our it will ruin our game. And like I said, this is. Yeah, I'm kind of speechless thinking about it. To be honest with you, I've done my I've done my ranting on Twitter these past few days about it. So I think we need to finish the job. Like I say, we're still not safe. We need to finish the job if we can. The sooner than sooner rather than later kind of thing. But if we don't manage to, I certainly think we can at least get a point against Barnsley. But I don't know. You can never. It's such a hard league to predict. And like I said, there is no other opportunity on Saturday in Blackburn, who, like you say, have nothing to play for. But I don't think we've had that good a record at Ewood Park. I mean, I kind of feel like these statistics don't really matter with all this COVID going on and with no fans in the stadium, because like every game probably feels the same for these players. But obviously, so if we're looking at Barnsley, and obviously they've built their foundation on really being, I could kind of say that they've really looked strong at the back. I mean, obviously they conceded goals against Coventry, which you find maybe they just had an off game. But I think one player that's really impressed me this season for Barnsley is Mikael Helik, who he's really been a rock for them this season. Like I say, he's not really played in England that much. Obviously, he's played a lot in his homeland of Poland, but he's kind of come of age in this Barnsley side, and like I say, he penned a new deal at the start of the season, and he's really been instrumental. He's actually scored 5 goals in his 38 appearances, so he's got a goal in him as well. So yeah, and then obviously if you're looking at the more attacking maybe things, you've got the likes of Alex Mowat, who, like I said, I think at one point we was linked with him, and I wouldn't have minded him in our side actually, because I think he's a really good player. But anyway, and then I don't know if you've heard of the guy, but Daryl Dye came in Orlando, who I think he's surprised everyone since he's come in, and he's got how many? Let me just have a look. 8 goals in 14 games. It's quite impressive to say that he's not really played. He's come from America, obviously. So I think it's going to be a really tough game. But like I say, we need to just try and impose ourselves, and hopefully, just get if we can get the win, we'll be safe. So that's something that we can play. But also, obviously, Barnsley are wanting to keep going in their playoff push. So it's going to be an interesting time.
No doubt about that. Obviously, it was a bit cruel when we lost back on the Boxing Day. Obviously, Helik, of course, getting both goals that day, of course, and that was just a cruel loss, I think, because we definitely, I think, did enough to sneak the win there, but to lose, rather death. We haven't had really that many games this way we've lost really that late on. That's not really happened too much to us, relatively speaking. Normally it's just relatively goals. Really, apart from that one, the only other super late one, obviously the Birmingham game, obviously when Jukovic scored, of course, when we should easily have won that game, but that was just even more infuriating. But there haven't been that many games so far where we have really let it go right at the end. So that's certainly one thing that's in a way good, but obviously losing that one was hard to take, I think it's fair to say. But as you say, Barnsley, just what a story that could be if they get back in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think it's a story that it'll just be an incredible, and like I say, it'll be interesting. Like I think the neutral maybe would like to see them go up, maybe, but it would be an amazing story, like you say, and like I say, it kind of reminds us of our season that when we went up, where we're going back now, but obviously, the wins just kept coming and coming, and we was kind of just thinking, well, this is really impossible. And then obviously, it just felt like a fairy tale. It probably feels like a fairy tale to Barnsley, but like I said, we'll see what happens. But we do need to get safe as soon as possible, and then we can maybe we'll see more of the youth that we've got coming through. Maybe be interesting to see Diarra to come back into the side, maybe. But I like I said, I don't want to push these players that maybe aren't ready at the moment. But obviously, and it's a totally different level from the academy level, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just the one problem with Huddersfield we've seen, because we give them these academy players so many goes, but there have not really been that many breakout players from the academy. That's back in the, let's say, when obviously when we went down to Division 3 in 03, and obviously when Jacko came back, when we had to basically play all the youngsters together, and then they just gelled brilliantly. You John Stead, Nathan Clarks, David Murphins and John Worthingtons and Andy Holtruffs, all those, and they just gelled brilliantly, pretty much because they more or less play together all the time. But these youngsters now, really, Billing, I suppose, in a way, is the only one who has really properly broke out in the last few years. Name many more others, because no one really has done that much apart from that. We really do need to make these players more first team. Obviously O'Brien, obviously, is the only other one recently, really, but that's really it.
Yeah, because I think that's really disappointing, isn't it, that we haven't seen more. But you could argue that I think we haven't really given the youth a chance to flourish at all either. I know that we maybe, but I don't know. I don't feel like we've always given the youth a chance. But I don't know. It is disappointing to see that like I say, if these players from the academy level were ready, they would actually get a chance in the first team. But we haven't seen anything like I said. So, like I said, I think we've previewed that already, and just want to kind of touch upon the overall season. Like I say, it's been really difficult because obviously we haven't been able to attend games, and we wanted to help the team maybe. But like I say, hopefully next season we can get back into the stadium and start and hopefully push on, because like I say, we definitely need to get the decisions right off the field this summer absolutely correct, because we don't want to be in this situation again come next season, because we really do need to be. I feel it's kind of a tricky one really, because from when like when Premier League teams come down and they kind of straight away they're ready to fight to get back up again. Obviously, our route wasn't like that, and really, we should really be up there fighting to get back up, but but we're obviously not in that situation. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm just trying to say that it's disappointing the way it's gone. But what are your? I know it's been really, really disappointing, but what are your overall thoughts of the season? I mean, obviously there's been some good moments, the first part of the year, the first part of the season was really positive, and we was kind of maybe getting carried away at times, with our good form. But obviously, since the new year, it's been really poor, and obviously we've picked up these past few weeks. But yeah, it's been a really disappointing one for me, and like I say, it hasn't really helped that we haven't been able to go to matches to maybe help the team.
Yeah, as you said, in a way, the key word there that you mentioned, moments. That is not been a season that we've had so many great things to look back on. I was looking comparatively speaking to last season's record, and it's almost going to be the exact same record. So basically, we've gone nowhere, which is obviously disappointing as a fan. But obviously, it's even worse being obviously stuck here and not going to the grounds. Obviously, as you say. So to me, I think the jury is still out on Corberan. Personally, myself, I'm still not convinced. I think there are obviously a lot of players and fans who clearly are convinced. There are definitely lots who aren't. I personally would never have got rid of the Cowleys myself. I'm definitely in that bracket. I won't deny that. I think we could easily have had something good with them. I think they knew what the club was about. When I remember seeing them when they had one of these meetings, I think you were there. I think the meeting they had at the ground about a month after they came in, and they clearly knew what we were all about. They knew all the players. They were very determined to get us in the right way. And obviously they had little bumps in the road, as every manager lot does. But he knew what they're doing, and obviously that win against West Brom at the end of last season, you could clearly tell they were all there for him. Obviously when Lerzel came up to him and gave them a big hug when Smith Rowe got the winning goal. I thought, here we go. This could be good next season. I was always thinking, he could get the best of our players. And then here a couple of days later they've been sacked. I thought, what's going on? And then and then to hear them say, this Leeds United coach going, oh, come on, we're not going back these days again. We're not just stealing riffraff from Leeds again, are we? Nothing against Corberán in that aspect, but the fact is, it just seems like we're borrowing from Leeds. We're now becoming the second tier team again to Leeds. Obviously, it was nice to be the best team in West Yorkshire for a bit when we're in the Premier League and doing better than Leeds, but. So then go back, or in a way, almost like going back 20 years to when Leeds were right up there in the Premier League, and getting the Champions League and all that. So it was just like we're again their riffraff. So to me, I'm based on that reason, is partly why I don't really get Corberán. And to me, if you're not going any further forward, how can you say he's been a success? So to me, but again, if we were to let him go, what would we do then? Who would we get in then? Because would we go someone like Cowley again, or would we go someone more experienced? Because obviously then you get weird names like obviously Tony Pulis, and we don't really want people like him coming to manage town. Or we go someone who's completely relatively inexperienced, like what Lee Bowes now starting to do at Birmingham, for example. But it's definitely a weird one. But and I think maybe it's partly because obviously, as you say, no one has been to a game where Corberán has been in charge. Obviously, we've all been here while we've been at home. So that's just a weird thing. So I think really until you see him in a person in the flesh, I've been lucky to meet just about every town player manager in the last few years in close up, and you really could tell. Even Jan Sievert, you could tell he was definitely wanted to get the best out of his team. Obviously, it didn't work out for him, but Wagner was there, Jacko was there, the Cowleys were there, Chris Powell was there as well. Probably only Mark Robbins, I think, was the only one I didn't really think that was any good at town. But again, I'm just not really sure about it, because if we're not getting any of that much further forward, then is it a success?
Yeah, like I said, I totally agree with that. Like I say, there's been no progress this season at all. So therefore, yes, okay, we might like Cal, we may like Corberán, but or we may not. But I think the Cowleys were very, very, they shouldn't. I don't think we should have got rid of them personally. But you could argue that we should. I personally think this goes back to when we got rid of David Wagner, and obviously, I don't believe that we should have got rid of David Wagner. And I know that's easy said and done now, but I think we should have stuck with him, really, because and I know that you never know what's going on behind the scenes, but I think since that moment we've kind of made misjudgments, and I think another thing to say about the Cowleys was that they were told that they would have full control of the transfers, and obviously they didn't get that. So that was another deciding factor of why they wanted to go. Now I've voiced this in the past about our club. Whoever comes in should be. Whoever comes in, right. I'm lost track. Whoever comes in to manage Huddersfield Town, right, should have full control. They should not be told who to sign. This our football club, as from as long as I can remember, has been run in the right way. And for me, maybe I'm old school, but if you are the manager, you should have full control. That's the way I think, regardless of who it is.
Yeah.
That's why I don't agree with the likes of Chelsea, things like that. Why are the people at the top choosing players when they're not actually working with it? It doesn't make sense to me at all. But for me, the Cowleys didn't want to continue, maybe because of that reason, and they were promised that. We've got a question in from Brad. Hello, Brad. Right, we've already kind of put thoughts on that win, Ryan and James. Rowe be key for next season, do you think? Yeah, we kind of covered that earlier, and I think we was really impressed with the win. Like I said, barring the first 20 minutes against Forest, yeah, it was really good performance, and like I say, our man of the match. We're kind of doing the Proud Terriers man of the match awards now every game, so we kind of introduced that now. But Rowe was definitely the star of the show, and like I say, I think he will be key for us next season. Like I say, I would build a team, that will fit him in quite nicely, and get players in that complement him well as well. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see where Rowe goes in his town career, because he's a player that when we've seen him, he's just been a joy. And like I say, it'll be even more exciting to see him, play in person. He's one of those players that I just love him. I think he just excites the fans. I'm happy for you to answer them question, James.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely want to see Rowe playing lots more next season. But as you were saying earlier, we've got so many players out of contract, and obviously there are some players who are obviously on short-term deals. Like, do we expect any of those to stay next season? Because I think we've got to expect Schindler's going to be going, which obviously will be mortifying for all of us because for what he's done.
Yeah, really.
But will people like will Keogh be staying possibly? Will Sonogo stay? And what about Umar Nias? Get him on the short. But he can't even play. That's just it's anyway part of the madness that you just mentioned about having a head coach rather than manager. I say the Cowboys were right wanting full control, and as you say, you clearly tell when we started going down after we got Olaf Reber in, the start of the second Premier League season, because clearly he and Wagner did not get on, and the players that he basically brought in for Wagner did not suit Wagner's ethos, and they were abandoned, and obviously they came rubbish, and obviously thank goodness we got rid of Diakavi, and obviously Bakuna and Benza will probably go sooner or later. You'd have thought, I certainly don't see Benza stay. I think he's sort of now disappeared again as well. Certainly, I've been subbed up half time against Bournemouth said it all, I think, to me. But do we really expect any of those players to stay behind? Because as I say, if we don't, then obviously we've got to start building on people like Rowe, as you say, and get Critchlow and Evans Green in playing more games, certainly, and definitely start building for that.
Yeah, I think Benza seems to have, kind of, what's the word, kind of packed his bags already, kind of thing, unfortunately. Like I said, we didn't even see him on the team sheet on, like I say, Saturday. And that spoke volume to me, because I feel like Corbyn's kind of sus that, he's kind of, But like I say, I still don't understand how, Bakuna and Benza in terms of their attitude and things. I know that Bakuna scored on Saturday, but apart from that, that odd brace that he maybe gave, he's done nothing else, and he's the kind of the same body language that Benz has shown these past few games, for example. It'll be certainly interesting, but like I said, I don't think the likes of Keogh, should be staying, because I think he was kind of a player that was just a short term just to get us through this season, just to just as a number, really. I know that he's played a key role in our games, but I still just think he was a player to come in just to maybe just try and like I said, I think Keogh's been okay, but again,
but does that then we have to get more experience back in? Because obviously then if Keogh's and Schindler both gone, then in terms of experience at the back, then you left with Sarr and Stearman, for example, and obviously Elphic's been out for as good as a year and a half. Are we really expecting to put him straight in next season, for example?
Yeah, I think whoever, like I say, I feel like if Keogh can, I'm happy. I'm not really going to be too upset if Keogh goes. And that's not, I'm just saying. But I think we need to get somebody in that's experienced but not too slow either, because we need some quick centre backs and quite we need to. But yeah, like I said, I'm glad that I'm not the manager at the moment, because there's a lot of decisions to be made.
But you just said that it might not even be Corbyn's decision, as you say. Else might be doing it for him. So like
I keep thinking that the so-called club that you expect Huddersfield Town to be, I'm still in that moment, if you could say so. Yeah, I get what you're saying now, but. In the likes of Nias, I think Nias pretty much sums up our recruitment policy these past few years, because, like I said, unfortunately, you're saying about if we should keep. No, we should not keep him, because at the end of the day, he has got injured again, and we knew what we was getting I know it's a gamble. Obviously, it's going to be a gamble with a player like Nias that's arguably been out injured a lot of the time, and he's struggled to keep fit, but and he's not played much football at all. But yeah, I think that for me just summed it up really, that we're not even going to see him play, and we're paying him wages that are completely. We're talking about not wanting to spend a bit more on really good quality, but yet we're happy to waste money on players that is a gamble, and that is a complete waste of money.
Yeah, but again, though, the transfer policy we have, what actually is it? We keep on being linked with all these players, and there are quite a few, obviously, that we think obviously they're not going to come because, after all the money that we've got going from parachute payments, obviously more or less all that's going to either the players' wages or straight to Dean Hoyle, which is just something. But so, what money are we actually going to have left to spend in the summer, especially after hopefully we'll have a bit more free when obviously some of the players who are on bigger wages go. But then you see us being linked with people like obviously again Jordan Rhodes back. Obviously we all hope that it'd be like he was 10 years ago with us, but obviously that's 10 years ago, and we're now in the second tier. And even though he has scored the odd goal recently for Wednesday, do we expect he's going to do that if he is to come back to us? Obviously we hope he will, but if he does come back, but that's obviously not guaranteed at all.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I say, we don't know really much what goes on behind the scenes at the club at the moment. Let's be honest with you there.
Yeah.
And so there's no chance of us knowing what the transfer policy is, because at times I've looked at over the years and you just thought to yourself, how we can just how we've got it so wrong. Over the years is just unforgivable. It really is. And like I say, we'll have to wait and see. But what was your final point? Sorry, that you said about what was it? Forgot. I was going to comment on something you said. I think what was you about? Like
John Rhodes.
Oh yeah, John Rhodes. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just finish on this one then. So obviously John Rhodes, like you say, was being linked. I can't quite understand it myself, because at the end of the day, the John Rhodes, if we are to stick with Carlos, cannot play I don't think he fits the Carlos style, if you could say so. But I also think that I worry about his age. I worry about the fact is, if you look at his record of John Rhodes over the last few years, maybe it's not been great. And I don't necessarily think I agree with the fact of re-signing players that have already been with us, because when he came to us, obviously, it was in a lower division, but also we were younger as well. So I'm not saying he's lost it. I'm not saying that he won't be able to do it in the Championship, but I'm just saying that he's got older. I just don't feel like he would be the correct signing, personally. I don't know. I just don't think it would be.
Yeah, I still was a bit thinking, because obviously we've seen this season that we've signed so many players who have previously been with us. Obviously, Danny Ward and Dwayne Holmes, obviously Richard Kerr for that short spell all those years ago. Are we really now? It's almost like we're just like recycling, as you say. It's a weird recycling process we seem to be going on. We're linked now with nearly every player that has played with us, even if they've only played one game for us. We're not getting anything new, and but maybe that's in a way the thing that the boardroom are thinking of now. Obviously they can't think. We're obviously not going to have that. Clearly, we obviously haven't got much money to spend. Or clearly, well, we assume they haven't got as much money to spend, and so obviously these are just cheap, affordable options. And obviously these cheap, affordable options have not really worked. How many games has Danny Ward missed this season? Like 3/4 of the season. Richard Kerr has had some decent spells, but not done that. Not really been super spectacular. No. Dwayne Holmes has been, apart from the game with Swansea, he's been relatively absent. It's just a weird thing. It's just so weird. How many clubs do you know have bought players who they come back and done better the second time round? There are hardly any I can think of who've done better second time round.
Yeah, but I don't see the club being as ambitious as we should be doing either, and I just feel like like I say, re-signing players like Danny Ward and and Dwayne Holmes.
Yeah.
Um,
I think ambition, as I say, is curtailed by money. But of course, one thing that Wagner did brilliantly was get some brilliant cheap signings, maybe from Germany and stuff like that. How much money did we spend that season? It was hardly £10 million, and we got promoted. If they could find something, because you'd assume that Corberan has got some bits in the Spanish market. Obviously, got Pieper and Vallejo, and obviously we don't even know if Vallejo is going to be here next season. But you'd like to think that he can have some other people like that, maybe even some contacts from his Leeds days. But you thought maybe you'd go somewhere similar to that. It worked once before for us. It might work for us again.
Yeah. Like I say, I don't believe that you have to spend loads and loads to. At the end of the day, for us as a football club, we want to see players that are working hard and they're doing their best. And obviously, we want to see results, obviously as well. But for me, we want to see a team that is trying. And I think when David Wagner was in, and Dean Hoyle obviously was chairman at the time, that that atmosphere, fans and players, and the club united was just amazing. It was truly special. Now, I've spoken about this in the past, how I feel like I don't think I've seen a bigger divide between the club and the fans ever. And that speaks for, I don't know how you feel on this, but I just feel that disconnect, unfortunately. And unfortunately, that has to be so responsible, the people at the top that are in control. But how do you feel about that? Do you feel that as well, or is it, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there clearly is a big disconnect. I remember, of course, growing up back in the early noughties, when obviously we had that double relegation in 3 seasons, and obviously when Barry Rubery was our chairman, and obviously he was just complete. He's probably the most divisible chairman now. Back then, since Phil, of course, has been in charge, and obviously back then we was just. Obviously there's all these other bits there. Obviously, when we nearly got liquidated after ITV Digital and all that, but clearly then there was no ambition. There was hardly anyone there. Obviously back then we were getting less than 10,000 people in the stage. It was so dull and gloomy. Obviously, people have had it seen worse. People are much older than us. Obviously, had all the horrors of the 4th division back in the 70s and all that. It wasn't as bad for us in a way, but there were clearly lots of gloom then. But I think back then, obviously, I was much younger, so obviously I didn't understand it as much as I do now. Whereas obviously now we're all grown up and we really fully idea what's going on. But yeah, there's definitely, when we're in the Premier League, season got promoted up there, and the first season, the whole club was together, no limits. We're Yorkshire, we're all together. You could clearly tell they were fighting for us more or less all the time, especially that game at Chelsea. That's the best game I've ever been to. I'm sure everyone who was there agrees.
Yeah.
But since then, what has there really been? Nothing much at all. Nothing.
No, our Premier League legacy has been truly tarnished, unfortunately. And actually, as fans, we'll never forget those memories. I'm not saying we will, but I'm just saying that it's a shame the way it's worked out, and the fact that we've had so much money has ruined us in a way. Unfortunately, the fact that there's plenty of people that have been and gone from that football club that have just cashed in on Huddersfield Town, have had no interest whatsoever in the club itself, which I feel personally is quite hurtful, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think that the money has ruined us personally, and we'll not forget the memories for sure. But it's just such a shame the way it is at the moment, and the way it's turned out. I think that's the sad thing for me.
Yeah, as Gary Neville said yesterday with the Super League, greed has killed the game, and that's just what it is. Greed has just killed it. A club like us, with all the money, we just spend it rubbishly, and we are where we are now because of that.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, we could. I absolutely love speaking about town with you, James. And obviously, it's great to have you on. But I think we've come to the end of this episode. Hopefully we can get safe. Like I said, we're still looking over our shoulder. We're still not quite there. We can sort that out this week, and we can start looking forward to next season. And being back in the stadium, which we all can't wait for, because it's been a long time since we've been able.
Away game. Are we looking forward to just go to any away game next season?
Yeah, away days are the best for sure. Yeah, and them coach journeys that we had over years. Thank you for joining, and thank you everybody for joining as well.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, mate. Anytime.
Yeah. and we'll see you all very soon. Take care. See you later.
Yeah.